We consume it every day with very little thought. We spend roughly 2 hours per day consuming and savoring every bite. I know this may be a silly question, but what exactly is food? Think about it for a few seconds. Have you ever questioned the food you eat? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below, sharing that light bulb moment that made you start investigating what you are eating. Now, what typically comes to mind when you think of food? Take a moment and reflect on that question. When you think about food, is it the taste that comes to mind? The scrumptious, appetizing flavors that make your taste buds dance? Now imagine a world where taste isn't the only player, where nutrition takes center stage. How many of us have truly dialed into the importance of nutrition over taste? I get it, it's not something taught in schools or passed down through generations. I cannot even recall a meaningful class on nutrition that made me more aware of what I was eating. I just saw these shiny, attractive things in the grocery store that all cried out, "Eat me." I was eating so much I did not even take a few minutes to really think about what I was eating. What's in this? How was this made? Is this healthy? What effects will this have on my body? All I wanted to do was eat all the time. But then something happened. I started to not recognize the person I was looking at in the mirror. I used to love looking at this person, but after a couple years of mindless consumption, I started to not recognize myself. I did not care about effects, ingredients, or processing involved in what I was eating. Once it tasted good, just take all my money. How many of you can relate? Why would I want to learn about what I was eating? I mean, there are like a billion different kinds of ingredients in the world that we consume every day. Learning about them and their effects would take too much time and effort. After all, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And that, my friends, was when I realized I had become a junkie, a food junkie. I didn't pursue a career in food, so my nutritional education was as thin as a wafer. Proteins, carbs, fats, vitamins, and minerals, that's the extent of it. But what if I told you our lack of nutritional knowledge is affecting our well-being more than we think? What if I told you we could be consuming neurotoxins that trick our brains into thinking that what we are eating actually tastes really good? What if companies spent billions of dollars for scientists to come up with chemical compounds that are more addictive than drugs? To study us to know the right combination of chemicals to get us hooked on, let's say, a fast food meal? What if I told you what you thought you were eating all this time was never food in the first place? I find that this phrase holds more truth to it than many realize. You are what you eat. Not literally, but what you eat heavily impacts your well-being. Food does not need to be rocket science or confusing. It should be simple and straightforward. In my opinion, food is anything that is naturally created with the intention of providing the body with nutrients that it needs. Nutrients essential for us to feel good, perform well, and enjoy a long life. When you look at all of the natural food on Earth, they provide something in the form of nutrients for the body. Did you notice what adjective I used to describe food? Natural. More on why later. Your definition of food may vary, and that is fine. What I want to do is provide you with a bit more information so that you can remain steadfast in your belief. After all, most of the things we accept and do not question are based somewhat on what we believe. The thing about food these days is that it has been transformed into what I call Frankenstein food. Not sure what I mean by Frankenstein food. Think along the lines of junk food, fake food, or processed food that have been transformed so drastically that they no longer retain the natural properties that made it natural. Just like the Frankenstein's monster, it is the creation of very intelligent scientists obsessed with feeding us with lab-based chemicals and compounds. It is incredibly easy and cheap to transform perfectly nutritious food into a shell of what it formerly was, where all benefits or life has been removed or destroyed. But you were probably aware of this. You may even fall in one of these categories. On one side, you have the acceptance squad, those who realize that what they are able to afford to eat will eventually send them to heaven early and can't do anything about it since it is everywhere. And you have the other side, the suicide squad. These are people who are aware of this and simply don't care about what happens since they are just here for a good time, not a long time. But there came a third group, the WTF squad. The ones who, after discovering the truth, decide to do something about it. Leave a comment below to let me know in what squad you fall under. No judgments here. The thing that makes Frankenstein food a threat to health is that they are nutrients or ingredients that are able to mimic the chemical composition of the real thing. Take the very popular vitamin C nutrient and its chemical counterpart ascorbic acid. Due to similarities of their makeup, it is often being passed off as natural since the chemical composition is so similar. However, we have a system that easily detects frauds: our body. Our body does not use Frankenstein nutrients as it is identified as a foreign element, not natural like what the body actually needs. Also, it was really surprising to discover that Frankenstein compounds that are consumed do one of two things. They are either not used and just travel in the body until they are excreted, or they tend to create instances of mischief by breaking or altering our molecules inside our body, creating health issues. So do you see the problem here? When Frankenstein nutrients are so similar, how can you tell if that product you just took up is actually good for you? And just to confirm, eating them every now and again won't hurt. Actually, it's fine to have them every now and again, like a treat. But these days we tend to treat ourselves far more frequently, so much so that treats have become a staple in our everyday food and are more along the lines of daily habits. The next time you are consuming that product that sells itself as having vitamin C that you need, just check the ingredients to see if you are getting the real thing or the Frankenstein version. One sure way of knowing this is to get the vitamin C from the source as nature intended. You see, everything was perfectly designed and is not flawed in any way. If you have an apple, you don't need to juice it to get its benefits. It was intended to be consumed fully because eating an apple and drinking apple juice is so drastically different you would be in disbelief. But we are not ready to go down that rabbit hole just yet. This is information you can look up yourself. You can simply Google what is in your favorite food. You don't have to take my word for it. After all, I am human myself and can be misinformed just the same. Which is why we need to be having conversations about this so that we can learn from each other. Give this video a quick like if you agree. The food today is not the same as the food 100 years ago, food our forefathers used to thrive off consuming. It seems like a revolution took place within the last 100 to 200 year mark that drastically transformed the food we are eating today in a way many did not notice. Food does not look the same like it was years ago. It does not taste the same. The nutritional value has decreased over time, and new discoveries just keep being piled on the longer we continue to investigate. It seems that during the timeline of the 1800s and 1900s, something interesting happened. Your food was not meant to be overly processed. Yes, it is very convenient to have bread that can last for a week or two. Yes, it is convenient that after a long day's work, you can just pop something in the microwave and have a full-course meal. Processed foods are in many regards lifesavers, but become a problem when we overindulge. That's where the problems develop. You are, in all aspects, what you eat. If you are just here for a good time, then indulge without restrictions. However, if you notice that your body is trying to tell you something when it has problems, pay attention to what you are giving it. Chances are, changing what you put in your body can fix most of your problems, as your body has this amazing ability to heal itself under the right conditions. Think in terms of prana. Food filled with life energy, when consumed, fills our bodies with that same life energy. I'm sure you don't throw water in your car when it actually requires gasoline, so why should your body be any different? Hey, before you go, show some love. Hit that like button if this video got you thinking. And until next time, stay curious and stay subscribed. This was just the start. If you think this got you thinking, wait until you find out about the chemicals that are poisoning your food.